pleasure in inviting Director General Mr. Rafael Mariano Grossi to make his statement to the General Conference.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, let me congratulate you on your assumption of this very important function. It's a real pleasure to have presiding over our deliberations and, of course, say how much we appreciated the excellent way in which Thailand, in the person of the ambassador, discharged this important function. As my dear friend Gara was just saying, let me start also by expressing our heartfelt sympathy with our incomparable host country, Austria, and our beautiful city of Vienna, together with the Niederösterreich and other parts of the country which are suffering the consequences of this extreme weather phenomenon that is affecting us all. I think the message of the Secretary General just now was reminding us of the fact that in our agenda and in the many things that we are going to be discussing this week, the role and the mission of the IAEA is indispensable. And yes, we are at a time of unprecedented tensions and uncertainties. But of course, that should not deviate us and should not make us forget the absolute importance of our work here, because our work cannot be put on hold until these tensions ease, which we always and of course hope will be the case. Let me say that when it comes to the role of the IAEA, it is in all these areas. It is in preventing the erosion of the non-proliferation of nuclear weapons regime that has underpinned peace and security conditions in the world. It is also important to make sure that nuclear safety and security prevail at times of war. It is also trying to ensure that through the efficient application of science and technology through nuclear, we can diminish poverty and difficulties around the world. Let me tell you what we have been doing in this past 12 months and the way ahead. One of the pressing issues that are in all our minds is, of course, the issue of food security and the fact that more than 700 million people go to bed every night hungry. This is, of course, an obscenity, and this is, of course, an effort that the entire UN family and countries as well are trying to address. Through the Atoms for Food project, which we launched together with our friends from FAO, we are trying precisely to bring nuclear technologies through food irradiation, through pest insect, to containment technologies, through soil improvement, crop improvement technologies, some remedy to this global crisis. I invite you to join us tomorrow when we launch the scientific forum this year, where we are precisely going to be concentrating on this issue through the Atoms for Food project. Dear colleagues, we are meeting for 5 days. Let me say something. You know, in these 5 days, or during these 5 days, in the world, according to statistics, 200,000 people will be told they have cancer. And many more, especially in the developing world, will not even be told that because they don't have the means to know it. From those, roughly half are going to die. And they are going to die from cancers that could be perfectly preventable and cured. This is behind our Rays of Hope initiative, which we launched in close coordination with the WHO, and which is supporting countries all over the world, in particular low and middle income countries, where in some cases not a single radiotherapy machine exists. So this support that the IAEA is giving is done through equipment, through training, and in some cases even erecting, constructing cancer centers. We need to continue counting on your support for this noble mission. But this is not all. When we look at the environment and when we look at other problems that are being tackled multilaterally, like the microplastic crisis, again, the IAEA, through the NUTEC Plastics project, is at the forefront of efforts that are trying to stem this global phenomenon. We are still remembering the days of the pandemic, with those lockdowns, with those anxieties. It's not so long ago. And at that time, the IAEA launched its biggest campaign of equipment support for more than 130 nations. But even those days, we knew that this was just a temporary remedy to something that needed more. And this is why we launched Zodiac, the Zoonotic Disease Integrated Action Program, which is now working in more than 100 countries. We have equipped veterinary laboratories all over the world. And you know, these laboratories right now are working on Mpox. So this action, this preventive action through new us to be ahead of the game on health crisis, of course, within the One Health platform in the United Nations. All of these issues are crucial. But of course, one of the most important matters that we are dealing with is the energy crisis, compounded with the climate change problems that we have. And the IAEA has been displaying also its support on the role that nuclear energy as a clean source of energy can play. As you know, when we look at statistics, roughly a quarter of the clean energy which is being produced right now in the world is of nuclear origin. And we come a long, long way from not being recognized in international conferences or even rejected to what happened in the global stocktake in Dubai just a few months ago in the COP28, where there was a global consensus, I repeat, from all members present there to say that nuclear energy should be accelerated. We will be working with Azerbaijan for COP29, where we expect to be continuing in this very important effort. Nuclear energy continues, and it's not only in the traditional way, it is also through the important contribution of new nuclear manifestations like small modular reactors. In a few weeks, the first international conference on SMRs, on small modular reactors, will take place here, in this very room. And we will be able to gauge the state of the art in this technology. Who is doing what? How can we, and especially developing countries also, can benefit from this important instrument to give our energy mixes an important additional instrument to produce energy without harming the environment. And this is very important. Of course, there are ways for the future as well, and fusion with its promise of energy, clean energy in a very efficient way has always been considered one of the most promising scientific areas. And we have launched the World Fusion Energy Group, which is going to be meeting in Rome in November this year to bring the conversation forward. As you can see, dear friends, all these applications are active and present when it comes to providing a better future for all. But of course, there are the challenges. And when we think about the challenges with war going on in Europe and with the possibility of a nuclear accident always present, the IAEA has been present at the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant. Already 23 rotations of IAEA experts are there contributing, working, informing the international community of what is going on. And yes, I have visited Kursk just a few days ago, where the situation is serious. saying and coming from the assumption that a nuclear power plant, a peaceful nuclear power plant, should never be attacked under any circumstances, irrespective of the place where these nuclear power plants are situated. And we will continue in this effort. Of course, when it comes to, and we mentioned that, the nuclear non-proliferation regime, which is so important, we need to continue our effort. I salute the possibility and look forward to engaging with the new president of Iran and with the government of Iran in continuing in our indispensable efforts to give the credible assurances to the international community that that nuclear program is in peaceful ways, and it will continue so. There are challenges ahead, but they are not unsurmountable. And I reiterate here and now my disposition to continue our efforts, just as we do in Syria, where for the first time in more than a decade we are now moving forward in trying to bring clarity to some of the issues that were the source of important concerns in the past. So as you can see, dear friends, in all of these points, the IAEA is showing its active contribution or to the world agenda. Dear friends, nothing in this area or nothing in these areas is done automatically. It all needs the workforce, the women and the men that are doing this science for all of us. And when it comes to that, young generations and of course women are essential. Through the Marie Skłodowska-Curie Fellowship Program, we have opened possibilities for hundreds of women that heretofore did not have the possibility, the means, the money to continue with their careers. We need to continue in this effort, because in the next few years, and according to the evolution of the nuclear energy equation, as I described it, a few million technicians and engineers are going to be needed. And of course, women will have to be there. And we have opened doors to them through this program and through the Lise Meitner program, which is also addressing mid-career women in the area of nuclear. Because it is not true that in these areas the male dominance will prevail forever. All of us are needed. And the example, of course, is my own secretariat, where from a meager 28% of women in the professional categories when I started in this position, now we are at 48.5%, and we are going to get to 50% very soon. So nothing is impossible when we work together and with a sense of real commitment. So as you can see, dear colleagues, from the front lines of war to the radiotherapy units, to the food and the protection of the environment, in all of these areas, this agency is and will continue to be at your service for the noble mission of keeping atoms for peace and development. Thank you very much.
I would like to thank the Director General for his statement. He not only dealt with specific agenda items for this session, but also provided us with an interesting overview of the main issues and challenges ahead for the agency. I am sure that his views will receive careful consideration by member states. Distinguished delegates, let us now take up item 6. With your permission, I should now like to say a few words about contributions to Technical Cooperation Fund. The Board of Governors in June 2024 recommended a figure of 98 million euros as the target for voluntary contributions to the Technical Cooperation Fund for the year 2025. Document GC 68/16 before you has attached to it a table showing the contributions each member state, would need to make in order to meet its share of the target. The early pledging and payment of contributions to the Technical Cooperation Fund greatly helped the Secretariat in planning the agency's technical cooperation program. And I would therefore urge all delegations that are in a position to do so and have not done so as yet to notify the Secretariat during the current session of the conference that their governments will be making to the Technical Cooperation Fund for 2025. I am pleased to note that 33 member states have already made their pledges to the Technical Cooperation Fund for 2025. At the end of our session, under a later agenda item, I will report on the contributions which have been pledged up to that time, and I hope that I will be in a position to report favorably on the percentage of the 2025 target figure already pledged. Pledges can be made during meetings at the table to my right, marked financial contributions. Between meetings, you can be made in room number MOE67 on the ground floor of this building, where delegates can also make inquiries concerning their regular budget contributions. Distinguished delegates, let us now turn to item 7, General Debate and the Annual Report for 2023. Before giving the floor to the first speaker on my list, I would like to make a few comments and suggestions regarding the conduct of the General Debate, which is expected to continue during the next few days. Member states were provided the option of submitting pre-recorded video statements to be delivered in the General Debate. Member states are requested as well to limit their respective statements delivered in the General Debate to 7 minutes. No longer statements may, however, be posted on the General Conference web page. I appeal to all of you to adhere to this time limit, 7 minutes, in view of the general streamlining of the conference. In this connection, I would also appeal for your cooperation in allowing me to start our meetings punctually and ask you to be available to deliver your statements when called upon to do so. Delays in starting our meetings will reduce the number of speakers we can accommodate in each session. Lastly, I appeal for your understanding and cooperation in the arrangement of the daily speakers list and the order of speakers. The list was opened in June, however, adjustment may be required in order to meet contingencies. I am confident that the Secretariat will do its best to cope with conflicting demands. I take it that the conference is in agreement with the suggestions which I have made with regard to the handling of the speakers list for the General Debate. It is therefore so agreed, and I thank you for your cooperation. Now, I have great pleasure in inviting the first speaker in the General Debate, the distinguished delegate of Islamic Republic of Iran, His Excellency Mr. Mohammad Eslami, Vice President and Head of the Atomic Energy Organization, to take the floor.
سلام علیکم. جناب آقای رئیس، جناب آقای مدیر کل، عالی جنابان، خانم ها و آقایان، در ابتدا انتخاب جناب عالی را به ریاست این گرد همایی با اهمیت تبریک عرض می‌نمایم. همچنین آمادگی دولت جدید جمهوری اسلامی ایران و رئیس جمهور گرانقدر جناب آقای دکتر پزشکیان را برای گسترش تعاملات سازنده و توسعه همکاری‌های مشترک بین‌المللی اعلام می‌نمایم. همکاران گرامی، در زمان حاضر دنیا با چالش‌های جدی و نگران کننده از جمله جنایات رژیم صهیونیستی در فلسطین مواجه است. این رژیم در جنگ غزه بیش از 41,000 نفر رو به خاک و خون کشیده است که اغلب آنان زنان و کودکان بیگناه هستند و بیش از 100,000 نفر
thousand others. The Israeli regime continues its crimes and genocide shamelessly under the protection of the United States and certain countries. We cannot ignore the ongoing genocide of innocent people whose lands have been occupied for more than 7 decades in flagrant violation of various UN resolutions with the full support of some countries. The UN apparatus is being continuously challenged due to the inaction in this regard by the relevant authorities responsible for maintaining peace and security. In this respect, the self-proclaimed representatives of the international community must be held accountable. The Israeli regime, through assassinating Iranian scientists, various acts of sabotage and terrorist operations, leads an extensive negative propaganda against Iran's peaceful nuclear program. By spreading false information about Iran's peaceful nuclear activities, the Israeli regime seeks to divert public attention from its crimes and atrocities. Excellencies, is the highest priority of the international community, and it is essential that nuclear weapons states fulfill their obligations under Article 6 of the Non-Nuclear Proliferation Treaty, the NPT. Today, the realization of a zone free of nuclear weapons in the Middle East has become more important than ever. Only during the past 1 year and on several occasions, the authorities of the child-killing Zionist apartheid regime threaten to use nuclear weapons against the oppressed people of Gaza, as well as the great nation of Iran. The Israeli regime refusal to join the NPT and put its nuclear activities and facilities under the agency's safeguards poses a threat to international peace and security. Distinguished colleagues, in this part of my speech, I would like to address one of the most significant global challenges, that is climate change and global warming. Global changes require global solutions. To this end, it is essential to transfer modern technology and equipment without discrimination, especially to the developing countries. In this direction, the use of clean energy, in particular nuclear energy as a reliable baseload power source, plays a significant role. In this regard, the International Atomic Energy Agency, in accordance with its statute, is obligated to act as a facilitator as well as supporter for the access of all member states to the needed technology and equipment without any discrimination. The Islamic Republic of Iran, for its part, is determined to increase the share of nuclear power in its energy portfolio to 20,000 megawatts by 2040, in line with its comprehensive strategic document for the development of nuclear industry for a 20-year horizon. Dear colleagues, I would like to take this opportunity to inform you, distinguished colleagues, that this year coincides with the 50th anniversary of the establishment of the Atomic Energy Organization of Iran, and for this purpose, the 30th National Nuclear Conference of Iran and the first International Nuclear Technology Conference was held in May 2024 in Isfahan, with the participation of His Excellency Rafael Grossi, the Director General of the agency, and his accompanying delegation. The participants of this event from different countries of the world witnessed the progress of the Islamic Republic of Iran in various fields of peaceful nuclear achievements. And these achievements have been the country has been subjected to the most severe sanctions. I am honored to announce that some of these achievements are being presented in the side event. Ladies and gentlemen, the cooperation of the Islamic Republic of Iran with the IAEA continues in an honest and extensive manner. The number of the agency's designated inspectors in Iran is incomparable to any other member states. More than 1/5 of all inspections carried out by the agency across the world in 2023 took place in Iran, while Iran's nuclear facilities constitute only 3% of the total number of nuclear facilities worldwide. This indicates our good faith. The inherent and sovereign right of the Islamic Republic of Iran regarding the designation of the agency inspectors has been exercised under the comprehensive safeguard entitled to accept. We should not allow these to set an unjustified precedence which will create trouble for all the countries. Therefore, the important point here is about the JCPOA. I would like to reiterate that Iran's JCPOA-related voluntary measures should not be turned to an obligation under pressure. The JCPOA is an agreement with other parties. Fulfilling commitments and implementing commitments were aimed to lift and remove the sanctions. Return to commitments by the parties is one of the main obligations for implementing this document. The Islamic Republic of Iran is always ready to resolve the issues and has been pioneer in resolving and settling the issues. And at the present time, especially under the present circumstances where the world is facing various crises, we expect that the agency, in accordance with this statute, tries to reduce tension and increase cooperation in order to improve the quality of life of all people across the world in accordance with this statute. It is expected that all the member states act with utmost responsibility and in good faith, and for this we are ready to achieve this